Bellanoir is just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but I'm hard at work preparing. When it dawned on me, what the heck am I preparing for? I don't know the fight, let alone the type of pal she is, or the skills she has. And more importantly, what mechanics will I face? Are we talking don't stand and fire? Dodge that AoE? Oh look ads? Oh look special ads? I can't make up my mind. That's why today we are going to be speculating about this upcoming raid boss. We're going to take a laid-back approach, a casual brainstorming session on what Pocket Pair has in store for us with this new upcoming raid. Let's jump in game. What's more iconic in video games then? Yes, you got it. The mythical quest to do the thing and get the things, oh so many things, to unlock the raid. Or in other words, a key quest. We could be set out on a legendary journey to uncover a schematic that allows us to craft a summoning stone, where we will have to fill it and bring it to the summoning location to start the fight. Could there be other requirements to go along with the summoning stone, or resources that we would have to farm? What if you have to have all towers completed, or there's a level restriction, before we can start the quest? Or better yet, what if they introduce a material that only alpha pals drop that we need for the summoning? It could also be left down to a single click without anything required. Let me know in the comments if you think that there will be a key quest. How is the fight going to go, I keep asking myself. There are a ton of mechanics that exist in gaming that Palworld can use for this first raid boss. I think we can safely rule out that Bellanoir will have a ton of mechanics baked in. Why? Because we're all still noobs. Usually, in other games, the first raid introduced has very little to no mechanics whatsoever. It's why people tend to ask, is this a tank and spank before a boss they haven't faced? In 2024, I would be shocked that they would release a basic fight because no one would like it in the community, as well as it would be heavily criticized by the gaming media. But I do see them wanting players to need a tank for boss fights going forward. The majority of this generation of gamers have transitional skills that allow them to handle more than just a tank and spank. That's why I think most likely the boss will have 1 to 2 easy mechanics, and the first meta will include a tank, DPS, and support pals when soloing this boss. Right now, for the majority of the game, you can rely on one pal to do all the work for you. Think about it. In the early game, once you choose a partner skill you like, rarely do you have to use multiple pals in a fight. I used Fox Parks and the flamethrower ability well into my 30s, and then bounced around having fun with partner skills until I got my first Ragnarok. I used that until I got my first Jormuntide Ignis, then found out about Shadowbeak, and haven't really used anything else since. I don't imagine I'll be able to run into this raid with my Shadowbeak in a party with 4 hoot crates and steamroll it. Another big factor is that outside the top 1% of players, the Palworld community at large probably have terrible fight mechanics, and in some cases, it's non-existent at all. Don't get me wrong, I love throwing my Shadowbeak in there and running around dancing while he does all the work for me, but I don't think that will work for Bellanoir. We're going to have to develop fight mechanics and strategies in this fight, and as a result, in upcoming raids, we will have the fundamentals set so they can introduce harder and more exciting fights. My guess is that Bellanoir will have 2 mechanics: don't stand and fire, and dodge the AoE, because they are classics and help train the skills you need for harder mechanics later on. And how is this fight gonna go? If I had to guess, well, we know pals and bosses have 3 skills. One skill could be a projectile that on impact creates a pool on the floor that does damage over time if you stand in it. The second spell could be a summon spell that does huge damage that you can dodge but leaves something behind for us to use as cover for the third skill. Lastly, an AoE that you can't avoid unless you stand behind the cover provided from her second skill, which destroys the cover, then the fight repeats until you kill her. I'm thinking it could be a dark orb that chases you, like the ones we see in existing dark spells, and when the timer runs out, it drops a pool of dark flames, followed by her second spell, that she spends a couple seconds casting, where she summons dark flower petals that shoot up from the ground, leaving petals to use as cover. And her third spell could be a huge AoE that is too big to run out of, which forces you to run for cover behind a petal. We'll have to develop new skills like how to keep Pal's abilities on cooldown, knowing when and which Pal to throw out based on the situation, stalling for health regen, using partner skills strategically, and more. That's on top of having the best pals with the best IVs, passives, and skills. That's why I think we will need a tank and have 1 to 2 mechanics to deal with. Let me know in the comments which mechanics you think we're going to see. With that being said, we need to be ready for a hard fight. We can only control the pals we bring and the fight mechanics and strategies we use. That's why I'll be starting a new series where I'll be going over builds I create for Bellanoir. The first one releases today, so like, subscribe, and click on this video here. Or, if you are ready to get to breeding, check out my beginner breeding guide here. By following those steps, you can breed any pal with any 4 passives you want. Until next time, I'm Supreme Overlord, and thanks for hanging out.